Apparently, I am live. Slow mode is set on. One takes a deep breath. One rings a little bell. Okay, all messages, show every message. I've had a filter on all this time. No wonder I can't see you properly. My chat filter was judging the messages for their value and only showing me the top ones, the most gorgeous ones. Hello, 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 everyone. Are you there? Hi, Nick, or Rupert, should I say. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hello, 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 Faraway Star. Saskia, hello. Moontide, hello. The Fireside Chat Room, hello. I stopped my transcribing to join in. That's nice. Happy New Year to you, my first live. Hello, hello, hello. Be Curious is here. Well, that's very nice indeed, everyone. Thanks for joining me. Here we are. Here I am in darkest Berlin. It's that time of the year where the days are short. And I just checked something last year because I just had this intuition that, you get to the solstice and you think, okay, that's the shortest day. Things can only get better, the days can only get longer. And I just had this feeling that the days were not getting longer. And I know it's only a matter of seconds or minutes or something. And so I looked it up, I Googled it, and I found that it is actually true that around the solstice, you get to the shortest day and the days actually, in the 3, 4, 5 days after that, the days actually don't get longer. They hover at about the same time. They might even get a bit shorter before they start getting longer because there's not just the angle of the Earth on its axis. There's something else. And I'm not a scientist and I can't tell you what it is. It's terribly complicated. But I think the real scientific truth is that you get to the solstice and you get 3 or 4 short days of really equal duration before it starts getting light again. And that's just something about the way the Earth orbits the sun. And it's a real thing. And I can actually feel it in my waters. I need to be feeling very jolly around this time because otherwise I get the feeling that I'm kind of being, kind of lying in a coffin a bit. I don't know if anyone else feels like that around this time. You need to be getting out in the sun if there is any. You need to be occasionally seeing friends. You need to be eating well. You need to I think probably good to have a Christmas tree if you're in a Christmas country and give and receive presents. Even though I do avoid the kind of like the big version of Christmas. Has anyone else noticed that? Or has anyone else sort of researched that and researched about this thing of the strange stillness of the days around the solstice? Fireside Chat Room says it's easy to hibernate and avoid the public this time of year. And yes, enjoy the Christmas tree. I agree. I'm going to, while we're all kind of joining and assembling and settling down, I will do a quick 3-card reading for the live. Please give us 3 cards for the live, and then we'll see. Oh. Well, it's going to be a good live. So there's something incomplete about me. Is it that I'm not properly dressed? I think I am. Well, maybe I'm not decent. That's a bit better, isn't it? I'll show you what I got for the live today. Talks in Sentences says, definitely notice it in Scotland. 6.5 hours daylight on the solstice and freezing fog on Christmas and Boxing Days. So a distinct lack of sun icon. Yes. And Scotland's quite far north, isn't it? Because London is not much south of Berlin. So I feel that we're quite far north here, but we're only a little bit further north than London. And then Scotland, that's another 500 miles, isn't it? So yeah, I was actually looking up the length of the days in Scotland, you know, and then Edinburgh and then Aberdeen. And then, I think if you're living in the Orkneys or the Shetlands, it's even more extreme, isn't it? Well, I enjoy a nice whiskey if you like that sort of thing, or even a haggis if you like that sort of thing to cheer yourself up, or both at once, or whiskey poured over haggis. That's my reading for the live. That's me. Little bit incomplete today. Maybe I've forgotten my brain. And that's you guys, or the people, or a person who joins up on that side. An 8 of Swords, a bit tied up, maybe tied up with Christmas obligations. But Ace of Wands, a very good live. We will get dynamism, optimism, energy, and inspiration for the year ahead during this live. So, if this is your first time of joining a tea and tarot live, I have a little system, which is that we chat about any old thing. But I am available for something like a maximum of 3 readings, live readings with cards, if you want. And I will do one at the beginning, one in the middle, and one at the end of the hour. And so if you'd like a reading, just let me know as soon as you feel you want to, and I'll write your name on the list, and we'll have a waiting list, and it's kind of maximum 3. I don't want this to be all about readings. Apart from anything else, I might get confused. Gail Pitt says, waiting for my husband who is on A&E. So, okay, Gail, I hope you mean your husband is working on A&E, not in A&E. You need some optimism. Gail, is your husband okay? Be Curious would like a reading. Okay. Oh, so I have 3 people asking for a reading. 4, in fact. So let's do 4 then. So Be Curious, Gail, Tamara, and Rupert, aka Nick. Sorry to squint, but I squint, I'm short-sighted. He's in A&E, Gail, he's in A&E. Funny you should say that because I was in A&E with my husband yesterday. But it was a very minor thing. He tripped in the ice and fell on his elbow, and it felt really bad for about 2 hours, and he thought he'd broken his arm. So we went into A&E and waited for a long time to see someone. I mean, it was, triage. You should see someone immediately with triage. You could be dying, but we waited an hour and a half, and he saw someone. By the time he saw the nurse, he was kind of better. So then that the triage nurse, and so then we waited for another sort of 2.5 hours, and then decided just to go home because the triage people didn't think his arm was broken, and it doesn't seem to be broken. Gail, is your husband seriously unwell? I don't know whether you want to talk about it in public. But yeah, let's do some readings. I mean, in a way, there's part of my brain that's a bit dumb at the moment. So I think my tarot reading brain is probably fine. So I think reading cards would be good for me and hopefully good for you. Be curious, would you like to tell me what you'd like for a reading? Give me a little bit of flavor. So it's not just you're asking for a reading, generally speaking, but is there a question or is there an area of life you'd like to look at or a feeling that you'd like to look at? And I'll get you some cards. So let's do kind of like at least 10-minute break between the 4 readings, and that'll space them out. Be curious. I just moved to a new city across the country, looking for new work. Advice for finding right job, please. Okay. Okay, be curious. Advice for finding the right job. Let's do searching the pack, because this is fun. So be curious, we're doing you at 1912 Berlin time. And what I'm going to do is I've got a pack here, Aquarian, and we're going to think of a card. I'm going to shuffle. We're going to think of a card to represent new work. So that for me could be Chariot. If you have any preferences, we want a significator to signify new work. It could be something like 8 of Pentacles. It could be the World or the Ace of Cups. If I don't hear from you, I'm going to look for the Chariot, because that is progress, isn't it? Okay, please give us a reading for Be Curious. Dong, ding, dong. Be curious, and also, I don't really keep I'm sorry to say I don't keep a book, but Be Curious, I've forgotten your name. I could use your name if you'd like me to. And this is going to be a 3-card reading or a 5-card reading. going to be a 3-card reading. I think there's a little bit of a delay, isn't there, in the communications? I think it is. I think there is. Because I think Be Curious has probably replied to what I just said, but I haven't seen it yet. So we're all going to have to be meditative for a couple of seconds. And while we wait for that reading, here's a book, Tarot by Letitia Barbier. And just to let you know, I think this is a very nice coffee table book, but I am having a little bit of problems with the text. I plan to review it, but it's kind of doing my nut in because it's one of these slightly ideologically tinged texts, which slightly has a mad modern attitude towards tarot. And I need to rant about it a bit, but it takes time to rant, doesn't it? Okay, Be Curious says, having trouble with messaging, YouTube errors, says I'm not subscribed. What nonsense. Okay, Be Curious, my question was this. Is it okay if we use the Chariot as the significator for your new work? And my other question was, I've forgotten what your name is. If you'd like me to use your name, just let me know what it is. But of course, I'm sure you are subscribed, and that's modern life just getting in our way. While I have this conversation with Be Curious, I'll show you this book. It was recommended by someone who watches Tea and Tarot. It's in a way it's more lavish than the Taschen book. But it's more historical, whereas the Taschen book is more about design and more about 20th century and 21st century. This is very, very lavish in terms of historical tarot. But the text is a bit crazy. Because even though this writer, Letitia Barber, has done a lot of research, she insists on seeing tarot through a sort of slightly ideological lens, and also through a slightly sort of esoteric lens. 9 of Pentacles. Okay, when you were offline, I suggested the 8, but I think 9 of Pentacles is fine. And Tiffany. Are you in the States, Tiffany? Okay, and also I was explaining maybe while you were offline that I'm going to shuffle the pack. Like where we have breakfast in our dreams. Fireside chat room, I will tell you. I'm just going to look after Tiffany, okay? And then we'll go back to this book in between. I do and I don't recommend it. Okay, I'm now going to concentrate. We're going to look for the 9 of Pentacles in the pack. I'm going to shuffle the pack and then we're going to look for it. And that will be how we find our reading. Please give us a reading for Tiffany looking for work. Okay, so now here's the pack. I am looking through it for the 9 of Pentacles. It's going to be the lady with the hawk, isn't it? And I'm going to find out what the adjacent cards are. And then that's going to be our reading. Because we are looking, Tiffany is looking for work, and so we are looking through the deck here. It's a nice symbolic way of behaving. I'll just, without moving, I'll just show you. There it is. Okay, I'm going to put that on my magnetized board. Okay, so between 8 of Pentacles and 8 of Swords. Your question, Tiffany, was advice for finding the right job. So we can do this together. I mean, I wish you were in the room with me, and I wish, in a sense, also this was a Zoom meeting and we could talk. But your advice is this. The 9 of Pentacles, which is reversed, maybe because it's missing from your life at the moment, is between the 8 of Pentacles and the 8 of Swords. Now, the 8 of Pentacles is a card of hard work. It's a card of productivity. I'm just going to keep talking because the talking channels the answers sometimes. And the 8 of Swords seems to me to be a card of restriction, a card of being a little bit of an outcast. The woman in the 8 of Swords has been, I think she's been cast out of the city. So there is a slight feeling of being outside of society. And this is a different feeling. The 8 of Pentacles, it's a feeling of being, I think, very much involved inside society and being loved, and very much someone who has a job. Okay, someone who has a job. What does that mean? Does that mean anything to you, Tiffany? Is it that you might be feeling like this, a bit sort of outside of society because you're outside of the workplace, which is an uncomfortable feeling and might make you feel like less good. So that's a bit emotional. That's a different feeling. And I think when I say someone who has a job, it feels like that might even be a friend. And it's not exactly that I think that you need to ask your friends to get you a job or give you a job or recommend you in that much of a practical way, but it might be emotional support, and it might be inspirational support. And so if you've moved to a new city, it might be a matter of phoning or Skyping with friends to just keep processing and keep getting feedback and keep getting your energy held up by other people who are working and who are sort of in the workplace and in society, to counteract this feeling of being an outcast or being excluded, being on the outside. So I think here we have on the outside and here we have on the inside. Let's see what Tiffany says. I've been networking with someone at a company to try to get employed there. Okay, they might be the 8 of Pentacles, but it could also be my partner who I just moved in with, who is covering rent until I see it. Yeah. Tiffany, I think it's the person who is in employment. I mean, whose employment is somehow salient in this situation. So I think it seems to be that person who you've been networking with. I think that's exactly it. And I think, not to go into it in too much detail, I think that's really the answer that this spread gives you. Okay, so if that is the goal and that is the problem, I think that card is the solution. Okay, take a deep breath. So good luck with that, Tiffany. I think it looks good. It looks like you're in the flow. I mean, I think if the cards are speaking, then you're in the flow. You're welcome. I will pause and talk about other things to clear my head. And then if Gail, if you want a reading, we can do that. But let's wait a few minutes. Let's wait until 20 past, or no, it is 20 past. Let's wait a few minutes. Wait, maybe till half past. The Fireside chat room said, I'm looking for a historic book on tarot. Do you recommend it for a read? No. If it sounds like you've asked me quite a serious question about the history of tarot, and no, absolutely not. I would recommend this as a picture book with a lot of pictures of old tarots in it and tarots over the centuries. But no, it's in many ways shockingly bad as a text, I think, for a number of reasons. I think the best historical book about tarot is called A Cultural History of Tarot by Helen Farley, Farley. I was going to spell my name. Helen Farley, A Cultural History of Tarot. It's a little bit serious. It's quite short. It's got lots and lots of notes at the back. So if you, excluding the notes, it's about 175 pages. And when you start it, you might think, oh, this is not the book for me. It's a bit academic. It's a bit of a university book. It's not very jolly and jaunty. But the thing about it is that a lot of people write, I think, rather stupidly about the history of tarot, and a lot of people let their own ideology get in the way. Helen Farley doesn't. She is very professional and just a very high quality academic writer. And she has things to say about the birth of tarot that are extremely interesting. That really changed my idea about what tarot cards are and where they come from. I mean, we all know that they come from the Renaissance Italy. And she says, yes, they do. But what people tend not to realize is that Italy at the time of the Renaissance was a really difficult place, and life was really difficult for most people, and they were poor and they lived badly, and the aristocrats, a lot of their rulers were extremely unfair and cruel and so forth. But she's very interesting about the relationship of the tarot to the church, for example, in that there is no relationship, and the tarot is not a religious artifact at all. I think, if you've got time to read Helen Farley's book, Helen Farley, I think it's with one L, but that Farley is spelt right. If you've got time for that, then it's well worth reading that book, because she's a bit on the skeptical side. She's not a committed esoteric tarot person, but she does tell you certain facts, and I think you can take her seriously. There is another writer who's a little bit more of a believer, a bit more of a bit more into divination, and that is Paul Hewson, Huson, Hewson. He wrote a book in the 70s called The Devil's Picture Book, which is okay and a classic in its way. But the one you really want to read is one that came out in the 21st century, which is called Mystical Origins of the Tarot. And all these books I've actually reviewed on my channel. I have a book review playlist on my channel, so you can scroll down, so you can find Paul Hewson, and you can find Helen Farley. They might be contained. I mean, I had a video called 6.5 Best Tarot Books. They might be in that video. So you have Paul Hewson already. Paul Hewson's really good, really good. Fourth Horseman says, historic tarot is tall order since there isn't much research into the topic. True. There isn't much research, but there is a little bit. And I think Helen Farley rounds up what research there is. Helen Farley sometimes disagrees with Paul Hewson on certain things, but then it becomes interesting because they're both really intelligent, thoughtful people, and you can kind of steer your way between the two. Okay, Gail, if you're there, could you tell me what you'd like me to read about? So I've got Gail, Tamara, and Nick on my list, and then that'll be all the readings. Oops. Fireside Chat Room says, I have Mystical Origins of the Tarot. I caught your review. Good. I mean, I think that's a slightly more tarot friendly book than Helen Farley's, because Paul Hewson is, you know, he's a bit of a wizard or witch or whatever he is. But I think if you have time to look at Helen Farley's book, then you've read both, and then you're very, very well set up. Oh. Rolf Matson says, Untold Tarot is another book I recommend. Thank you. And who's the author of that? Rolf? Untold Tarot. Gail, are you with us? We need you, I need you to define your question. Tell me what sort of reading you want. Is it about anything in particular? I also have a question for you guys. You lovely people watching my live, very kindly tuning in. Caitlin Matthews, thank you. Which is that, does anyone, I know this is the ultimate stupid question, Caitlin Matthews, but does anyone have any requests or suggestions for videos that I could make in 2026? In 2025, I was busy with a different book, a novel, and I had a kind of like a nervous collapse, like so many of us, I suppose, maybe post-COVID, and I had to take some time off. And it was all I could do just to keep this channel alive, just one video of some sort per week. I don't want to get demonetized. I wanted to stay present. And that was okay. And I made one really, really big lavish video about every tarot book I own, and that was a big project. I know that book review videos are really, really useful and helpful, and I will do 1 or 2 next year, but they're the most onerous ones because I have to read the book and I spend a lot of time thinking about what I'm going to say. I could make videos about card meanings. For example, I could go into the major arcana in more detail. I mean, that's not a commercial choice. It doesn't get clicks, but it might be that there's some of you guys who are maybe learning tarot or wanting to get good resources. You might find that useful, and it has been suggested by people on these lives before. Other than that, I'm kind of open to suggestion, and I'm trying to do one live per month. Recently, I've been doing one short per month, and I know that's, in terms of content, that's not all that thrilling to you guys, because you're kind of quite focused. But for the less focused viewer, the shorts are good because they feed the algorithm and they get this channel seen by many, many more people. So a couple of shorts a month, again, keeps the channel alive. Tamara says, I like seeing different and unique spreads in action. Okay. I quite like making videos about spreads, and I quite like actually the fact that one can invent spreads. Faraway Star, I would love you to make a video on card meanings. I'm looking for a solid source on card meanings. Okay, you guys probably already know that I do have a playlist which is about card meanings. So I've done the court cards already. I've got one video for the kings, one for the queens, one for the knights, one for the pages. I've also done keywords videos. I've done 78 very quick, like I think one word for each card I did. And then I did 78 clusters, so 2 or 3 words for each card, which I'm very pleased with. But what I can do is I can start to go through the deck in a much more relaxed way. I don't want to like blither on about readings, because I think it can be quite confusing. But I mean, I could give like 1 minute on each card perhaps, and just let you know how the meanings that I'm using at the moment. Fireside chat room. You have a lot to offer in terms of sharing your philosophy of tarot and card by card. Right now, I've noticed that the tarot community is flooded with mass purchase consumptions and unboxing. Well, Fireside chat room, I've noticed something as well, that I think the tarot market is being flooded by AI designed tarot. And I mean, AI is a lovely thing, but how is it going to help us? Because some of these decks you see coming out, they're quite nice in terms of design, but then there'll be 3, 4, 5, 6 cards that are way off in terms of design, like the AI did not understand the prompt, and then and then you have to live with a deck which is an RWS derivative with 3 or 4 or 5 cards that just aren't really RWS, or that fly in symbols and ideas that really have nothing to do with tarot, that just come out of the AI's crazed imagination. Louvre Tarot, hello. Do you perhaps have any ideas of your own that you would like to share based on your experience? I'm just making some notes here. Card meanings. What I do, yes. I made a video this year called what was it called? Fortune Cookie Tarot. And I'm going to make some more videos about that. And that was where I discuss tarot as a subject, and I discussed the idea that tarot readings can be short, can be very short, and that's not necessarily a negative thing. You know, we tend to have like readings that are half an hour long, 1 hour long, more than an hour. But I'm thinking a tarot reading can be a minute. And when I do readings online during these lives, they're about 5 minutes. So I don't think you need to go on. But I mean, I do 1 or 2 of those philosophy of tarot videos per year. Okay, well, thank you about that for the book. The book ground to a halt because my co-author decided not to continue with it. And so I think probably I need to reimagine my book as a solo project. And I'm just writing a novel, and when the novel is being sent out to agents, then I will be free to go back to my tarot book. Fireside chat room, I use AI for academic teaching and tutoring only. I think AI is amazing for academic stuff. Can be. Nick says, could you make a video talking about your experience as a tarot reader, different stories? Okay. Experience, yes. That's a good idea. I will do that. Toadstool Tarot, hello. I'm rather fond of majors only and wonder if you might focus on the reverence of their use in Europe. People accuse me of not playing with a full deck. Lol. Okay, Toadstool Tarot, I don't quite know what you mean. Do you mean you okay, you're fond of using majors only. I wonder if you might focus on the reverence of their use in Europe. That's what I don't quite understand. Just if you could just rephrase that, that would be helpful. Hi, Robin. Hi, Saskia. Fourth horseman. Personally, I find the best approach to tarot is to focus on Waite and Jung. Yeah, I mean Waite. I'm having a non-Jungian moment. Fourth horseman. I've sort of slightly got Jungian indigestion at the moment, but I'll be fine. I'll get over it. Okay, I've got a list here. I can't see Gail in the chat. I have a nasty feeling that Gail has lost her connection to the session. Tamara, I think you're still with us. Let's go to you. And could you ask me, could you just be more specific? Give me a specific, what you would like your reading to be about, or what area, or if there's a question, or if there's a thing. So I'll put down some cards for Tamara and some cards for Nick. Because it's 6:45. London time, ladies and gentlemen, London time. You can take the boy out of London, but you can't take London out of the boy. Oh, Happy New Year, Fireside Chat Room. Thanks for joining us. Okay, Louvre Tarot. Hard to get through moments of card fatigue when you still love tarot, but nothing feels interesting. Maybe suggesting different activities or approaches for those phases. Very good. Fantastic. How to deal with card fatigue. Well, I should know, because when you have a tarot video, you face that challenge all the time when you have a tarot channel. Yes, very good. Okay. Tamara, hi Tamara. Tell me what you want for your reading. People dismiss majors only out of hand, but my understanding is that their use is more respected in places like France. Perhaps I'm misinformed. They give me all I need. Well, Total Tarot, I think the thing about tarot is that tarot is just a tool, you know, like a food processor or a bucket and spade or a dustpan and brush, and it's to help you channel and you just use it as you want, is my bottom line about that. I actually like the minors very much, but not with Marseille. I like the Pamela's minors very much. I like the variety they give you. But I think if that works for you, that's absolutely brilliant. Just, if it works, it works. Forgiven for using incomplete decks. And I'll tell you something about majors only. If you like using majors only, you have a much bigger choice of decks, because there are many very talented designers and artists who have only done the majors because, you know, that's 22 designs, isn't it? And if you do the whole thing, that's 78. So, and also you have all the Marseille style decks that you can use because you can just forget about those annoying, boring Marseille pip cards and just use the majors. So I think if you can work with majors only, you probably are going to have a prettier and more stylish deck collection. So there's a very nice way of looking at it. I mean, there are many decks, so many decks I would have bought if I had been able to read, if I'd been happy to read with majors only. But I just rejected them because either because they were majors only decks, which some very beautiful decks are, or because they had Marseille style pip cards. There you go. Saskia has a friend who's been reading tarot for years, only majors. It seems that our connection is not good. Tamara, you said hi, but you only said hi. I haven't had instructions from Gail or Tamara. Let's do Nick. It's coming up to 10 to 7. Nick, are you still there and can you hear us? Rupert Rochester. And what sort of reading would you like? Have you ever tried with minors only? No, I haven't. Tarot as a tool is exactly what Waite intended. He really frowned upon it as a form of divinity. That's the genius of the Rider-Waite deck. Ah, Rupert Rochester. What message might the universe have for me? Okay. I think that's a question that calls for the Morgan Greer. Okay. Rupert Rochester, Nick. What message is there for Nick, please? Okay. Well, it's very yellow and brown, your message, but then yellow and orange and stuff, but then that's the Morgan Greer for you. Give me a second, Nick. Issue or theme and advice. 4 of coins down here. Then we have Judgment, Queen of Pentacles, 8 of Pentacles. Okay, so what I'm getting here, I'll just see if I can just channel some words for you and make of them, please, what you will. What I'm getting is, if you are holding on too hard, then the advice would be it seems to be it's about sort of activity, and it is about work, but not necessarily in the boring sense. It's about applying yourself to what you feel good at and what you feel is useful. And it's also about tending your garden. And it's also about hearing the call to a vocation. So between these two cards, Nick, I've got, if the problem is holding on to something too hard, then the solution would be to respond to the call to a vocation. And then you can be, in your garden, growing the talents and the useful activities that you love to do, and then you can be productive. That's all I'll say for now, unless, Nick, you have any refinement that you want to send me. Tamara, you've said no. Okay. Tamara, I had lost you, but I've got you back, okay? So I will give you a reading in a sense. I just need to clear my head from Nick's reading, okay? Nick, I'm taking a breath and I'm letting that reading go now. Thanks for that, Nick. And I'm going to just clear my head with a swig of water, and I'm going to see what Tamara said. I have walked away from a person I really thought was an ideal match because he wasn't opening up. Will he reach out, or is this over? Okay. Let's take the Rider-Waite-Smith. Here we are. I'm going to shuffle the cards, and then I'm going to cut them tomorrow. And then when I've cut them, please give us a reading about Tamara, who says, I have walked away from a person I really thought was an ideal match because he wasn't opening up. Will he reach out, or is this over? I can't predict entirely that, but we can look at the relationship, okay, with the cards, and we'll just see if we can pick anything up. This is for Tamara. So Tamara, could you say left, right, or center, please? And I'm cutting the cards now. That's the left for me. That's the center, and that's the right. And then I'll know that you're still with us. I'm sorry, guys. I think the communication has been the chat has been a bit kind of delayed today. That does sometimes happen. I think it's always delayed by about a minute or 30 seconds, but sometimes it feels a bit longer than that. And then I put a 10-second delay on to calm down any trolling activity that might happen, but we don't have any trolling activity at the moment, so I won't do that next week. Thank you, Toadstool Tarot. So tomorrow. Can you tell me left, right, or center? Left, good. Okay. Now, as I said, I'm not in the game of making predictions, but that's a card for you, that's a card for him, and that's a card for the relationship. Moon, okay, a test, a testing time, a test that in a sense you have to go through on your own. This is how I always understand the moon. It's a lonely experience, and there is no simple answer, except that it won't last forever, and you will get through it. Him, okay, that's interesting. A reversed world card. The reversed world card, for me, in my book, suggests incompletion. So either he is incomplete without you, or he is incomplete in himself to the extent of not being in the right space to respond to the relationship. You could say not ready for a relationship, but I don't want to phrase it like that. It's just like not completely lacking something he needs in order to be available, be fully available to you. Now this is a 2 of coins up here, and this is the card for me that signifies the result of the energy between these two people, and that's a card of activity. It's a card of being busy. And this is about the relationship. So I tend to feel that there is more energy, there's more momentum in the relationship. Full stop. There is more momentum, there is more stuff to happen in the relationship. And if that can only happen through him reaching out to you, then I guess that's how it would happen. There's things that I think need to be said, and there's things that still need to happen. In other words, it doesn't look finished to me. That was a short reading for tomorrow. We're coming up to 7 o'clock London time. Thank you everyone who tuned in. I just want to say before I go that that these lives are really fun for me, and I really get something out of them. They make the running a tarot channel, running a channel on YouTube is a funny experience, and it's it's a monologue, isn't it? You're constantly talking and broadcasting. And even though I can't hear your voices, when we do these lives, I feel that you're there. Well, you are there, and you write to me, and it becomes a chat, and it becomes a social thing. And not only does that really make the experience of the channel more fun, but it also gives me energy with my life. It keeps me involved, and it keeps me connected, and it's a nice energy in my week or in my month. So thank you very much. You keep me out of trouble. Tamara, the situation is still not at rest. I think that's what it looks like. Yes. So all the best with that to you. And thanks for giving me the opportunity of reading for you. So I'm winding down. It's supper time here in Berlin, dinner time. Happy New Year to everyone. I'll see you at the next live stream. I'll try and do one in January. Careful with those fireworks. And if you have a cat or a dog, give them a cuddle so that they don't freak out. Thank you, Nick. Thanks for tuning in. Happy New Year, Faraway Star. Thanks, Moontide. Nice to see you. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And thanks for the book recommendations, and thanks for the ideas for videos for next year, because that's really worth a lot. That's worth a lot. I need to keep feeding the algorithm, otherwise they will demonetize me. So I'm not able to take a holiday from the channel. Tamara, thank you so much. I really enjoy your personal engagement. It feels like a dear friend that can chat with me about my favorite topics. Oh, that's very nice. That's very nice. It's been lovely, everyone. It's 2:07. Ding dong, the clock is tolling, and dinner aromas are wafting into the tarot room. So I shall love you and leave you. Goodbye. Have a lovely new year. They say in Germany, Guten Rutsch, which means have a good slide into the new year, even though it didn't originally mean that. It was originally a Yiddish word for something else, but everyone thinks it means a new slide. So in other words, what I want to say is watch out for the ice on the roads. Don't slip up, okay? Bye. And Gail, I'm so sorry to lose touch with you in the course of this live. Sending lots of thoughts. If indeed your husband is in A&E, sending thoughts and good vibes. And maybe we can say hi at the next live, okay? Okay, we're all logging off now. Bye.